What's up everyone, CRK here, and we're back at you with another video. This time though, we've got something that has been sitting around and essentially I forgot about this item. This is from 2022, if you believe it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and open this up. Of course I have my address on the other side, so it's a previous address, but nonetheless. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get this opened up here. I don't know what it is. I myself am curious because it's now 2026. So this is essentially what, 3.5, 4 years old, I guess. So if it's from the end of 2022, yeah, we're getting there. Let me open this up off camera to see if I can even get in here, because it's I'm sure this tape is stickier than it was when I first bought it, so probably been sitting for too long. But let's see what we got here. All right, I see a coin, or I see something in there. Let's check it out. Ooh, what is that? A single? I got a single bubble. I thought it was almost wrapped inside of here, but there is. That's so funny. Why even put this? That's so funny. Nice. What is it? Is it falling out of the case here, or did it just kind of staple it? All right, let's see what it says. I'll show you what it is. I'm sure you got a sneak peek of it. It's a 1912 S Mint mark. I'm not sure what all those numbers are on there, but let's take a look at it. So there it is. This is a silver quarter we picked up from 1912. Let me zoom in on this a little so you can get a better view of it. Man, look at that. So this shows some nice wear, but I don't have very many of these. If I had to estimate, I probably only got maybe about 10, 15 of these, if that. So this is, I'm sure I remember buying this at some point. This came from, what is that, Nebraska? Looks like this came from Nebraska. Let's take a look at the other side here. Boom. There it is. So that's our beautiful barber quarter. 1912S. And, man, I don't know if you guys have seen, but silver has been on an absolute run. It's been on an absolute just bull run. It's just been tearing through everything. So a few things that I'll say from my personal experience. And I always mention it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. But from my personal experience, it's one of those, I told you so moments for me, for people who would laugh or, think that it was silly to stack silver, who would say, well, why don't you just buy gold? Well, it's not always attainable to just go pick up a kilo of gold or, even an ounce of gold, right? So for me, that's always been the thing. And like I've said, I feel like there's a lot of advantages to silver, more so now than before. I believe now silver is used in a lot more components for computers, for AI, for processors, I think it's also one of the most conductive metals, if I'm not mistaken, if not the most conductive. So you have to remember, silver not only has been used for centuries as a semi-precious or precious metal, but I feel like it's also just the beginning. And I feel like there is certain reasons why the U.S. government or the U.S. Mint would have decided to just completely halt their silver sales. And from my understanding, that was all the way across the board. I want to show you some more silver so we don't just hang on to this one here. This is a beautiful coin. And I'm happy I bought this in 2022. This was probably a nice birthday gift to myself, or just something that I picked up additional because it was towards the end of the year. But what I'm going to do, I'll get this put away, and I want to show you some other cool silver pieces that I've found recently. I put it all inside of this bag because, let's see, I'll show you just for kicks and giggles here. Let's turn on our scale, and let's see how much silver is in this bag. So I have about 2 of these bags at home now, and essentially once I start to feel this kind of weight at home, I like to take it to our safety deposit box. So keep in mind, some of this is packaging, but majority of it will be silver. So this is a pound and 11 ounces. So what would that be? That'd be about 27 ounces. So you got 16 for the 1 pound, and you got 11 here. So you got about 27. We'll just call it 25 ounces, right? So 25 ounces of silver here. And that sounds about right, just based off of some of the things I went through. This is one of the beautiful coin shops I like to go to. This is in Las Vegas, Nevada. But like I said, there's just tons of advantages to silver, and I'm also, let me add this before I get too deep into everything. I would say dollar cost averaging has been a big thing for me. I've been buying silver since it was about 15, 16 bucks an ounce. So that tells you how long I've been collecting, right? Keep that in mind. Take your collecting journey with a grain of salt. I would definitely say don't start here. This was just something fun I bought. And when I bought this in 2011, this was, I think, maybe like 12 or 15 bucks. It was probably about 18 bucks with shipping. So it's just pretty funny to have a kilo of copper. Hope to one day have a kilo of gold, would be nice. But this has always been, for me, the most attainable and just the best thing to collect. Again, I'm not a doomsdayer either, but if it ever hit the fan, this would probably be the easiest thing to barter in, God forbid. But I also look at these coins, and I'm always just, like, I'm just in awe of how beautiful these coins were. And just the fact that they just have so much detail. Morgan dollars, peace dollars are like my absolute favorite thing to collect. And more so than anything, I'll show you this here. Bought that for $27. All right, and that was in 2023. So yeah, I didn't buy all of them at, $15, $16, but that goes back to my point of dollar cost averaging. Yes, the price of these now is probably like, I haven't looked, it's probably around 65, I don't know, 70 bucks, depending on what the coin shops are selling them for. I think 60, 65 is the last I saw, and that was at the beginning of the year. And since then, silver has gone up, I think, another 15, 20%. So this stuff is getting hard to find, and probably not this coin in general, but I also, when I would buy these at my local coin shop, whether that be Sahara Coin or any of the other coin shops that I go to, I was always looking for more key dates. I'm a little bit of a numismatist, or however you say that, but the numismatic of a coin, I feel, also adds value to it. And so what I mean by that is, if someone's willing to give you 65 bucks for this as an ounce of silver melt value, they're probably willing, if there is any collector's value, they're probably willing, the right person, right? It's not going to be everybody, but the right person is probably also willing to pay a premium for that year, for their collection, whatever the case may be. So, just some tips and tricks. I've been doing this for about maybe 15 years now. And, I know a lot of people didn't really care about the year. They're just like looking for coal Morgan or coal peace dollars. And a lot of the stuff that I do buy is considered coal. But if you look at this, what would you say is coal about this? We'll take it out of the holder here. Some people say, oh, they're cleaned, etc., this or that. But I just see a beautiful piece of American history, to be honest. I don't see anything really wrong with this coin. And if it was cleaned, it's probably, you know, it's probably been a long time ago. But essentially, I think long term, if you have these and you don't have to sell them right now, I would say you could, if you want to be safe, you could sell a portion of it and then, you know, hold on to that cash, or slowly dollar cost average back in, or essentially, you know, trade it in for something else. But I would say if you don't have to sell your stack, if you don't have to sell majority of it, I would say don't, because I don't think this bull run in particular is over. And I don't think that the U.S. government was prepared for the run that silver was about to go on. And so I think that that has a lot to do with where the price can go. And I've heard some people say that silver can go into like the hundreds of dollars per ounce. And it doesn't sound that crazy anymore. It really doesn't. Bring another one out here. And so these might have been, I don't know if these are in here right now, but it looks like we picked up in 1878 and 1921. Well, I guess they're not in here. Probably fell out of the bag. Let me see if they're hanging out at the bottom here. But there's been a great advantage of stacking for me. It's not only just the joy of being able to get coins and you know, obviously preserve them as a part of history. All right, we'll look at this one because this one's got a ton of them. I can feel them in here. And so look, there's a peace dollar. So there's 60, 120, 180, there's a 240, $300. And so if these were all just sold at $60, which even right now seems like a ridiculously low price to sell these for, this will probably be our screenshot here, so sorry about that. Let me get a picture. But even if I were to sell these, even if I were crazy enough to sell these for $60 each, I would already be up. I would be up on my money. And to me, this has been always a long-term play. This is not something that I bought hoping to, you know, get rich quick. And it's just a great hedge against inflation too. So the list goes on and on and on for me as far as silver. And I love gold, but essentially when I first started collecting, I wasn't in a place to be buying gold. Even now, I could buy gold more frequently. I don't, because I feel like I'm happy with my stack. I probably, at this point, I don't know, if I had to guess, I probably have about 500 of these or so. I've never counted, so I couldn't tell you. I can just remember making about 500 trips to my coin shops. As you can see, this coin shop in particular is one that I really enjoy. I haven't made it there as often anymore, just because I live a lot further than I used to. But let's take a look at these. This is a 1922, and let's see if that's what these were. This is 1921 and 1878. So it wasn't that, but let's see what this paperwork says. So this paperwork here shows me at $151. Let's see what we bought for $151. I bought 2 Morgan peace dollars. Total price $49.48. And this was in 2022. This is November 9th, 2022. I bought 2 Morgan or peace dollars for $49, and then like a proof set or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, I picked up 2 for 50 bucks, right? So if you pick up 2 for 50, and now you can sell 1 for 60, that means you get to keep your original one and you made 10 bucks, right? So, and that's like a very broad example. So my whole time from then is about what? It's 3 years and 2 months. So it's pretty insane. But again, like I said, this should be a long-term play especially if you're buying at these prices. So buyer beware, right? I would say if your main goal is to get in and make a few quick bucks, just be careful because it could bite you, right? We're at all-time highs right now. You don't want to be jumping in when the market is running wild. All right, so this piece dollar is a 1923. What is that? A D mint mark. So we got a 1923 D. Over here we have a 1922. And I don't see a mint mark on this, so this was probably a Philly. 1922. And then down here we've got 1878. Look at this. This is pretty. I'm not sure the overall mintage of this one. This one does look like it might have been cleaned at some point. And you can see all of the circulation on the high points as well. But again, this is still a gorgeous coin. You have to remember this coin is from 1878. That's insane. I don't really have the time to do the math or the brain power right now. But from 1878 to now, what is that? It's about 150 years. This is 150 years of American history right here. So, God bless America. That's a great coin. Let me see what else we've got. Next one we've got up is a 1925. I don't see too many 1925 peace dollars in the coal jars anymore. Matter of fact, I think if I went there now, you probably wouldn't see any coal dollars in their coal peace dollars in their jar anymore. And then last but not least, we've got here a 1922. What is that? Is that a D or a P? That almost looks like a P. I don't think they would have wrote that on there though. It's got to be a D. Yep. So, I mean, you really can't beat this stuff, right? So I don't want to make it sound like you have to go out and buy silver at these prices. You know, do what makes sense for you. But this is just a play. As you can see, it goes all the way back to 2022. And that's just showing you 6 coins that I had here, right? And so this one definitely looks like it was cleaned at some point. But it's one of those things that it ends up not really mattering, right? You get to have fun. You get to stack some coins. And essentially you get to hedge against the dollar, which is, in my opinion, is still one of the strongest currencies, if not the strongest currency in the world. It's definitely the strongest. My apologies. But at the end of the day, it's still being devalued every single day. They're printing money, you know, and this is just a really safe bet for me. It might take some years to pay off, and, you know, anything's possible. I know sometime in the late 80s, there was that whole Paul Volcker situation, and you had those cousins or whoever they were, and I didn't look too much into it, but there were some cousins who essentially cornered the silver market, made some mistakes, and they made silver crash. Do I see that happening again? I really don't. And there's a few reasons for that, mostly because the dollar is being devalued. And I think that a lot of people really misunderstood and underestimated silver, and especially its importance and its role in today's economy. So I think as AI progresses, I think as they continue to build out more data centers, more electrical grids, just more infrastructure, anything that requires, you know, motherboards or anything that essentially requires silver. I think electric cars probably require silver too. Anything that requires silver is going to take the demand to a higher level. So I would say if you haven't started stacking, consider dollar cost averaging. Talk to a financial professional. If you don't have a financial professional, take a leap of faith. Do what you think is best for you. Again, my situation is unique and it's very different from yours just because the length of time that I've been stacking and how long I've been collecting these. This stuff is just stuff that I've had in my repertoire, or in my house, should I say. Stuff I've had in my house for the last few years. So, like I said, once I start to feel like I've got a few too many pounds at home, it's time to take it to the safety deposit box. So this is just what I've had here in the last few years. Always consider when you're stacking, you want to consider where you're going to stack, how you're going to store it, safety measures, right? If you're going to protect it, if you're going to keep it at home, obviously make sure you got a safe that's bolted down to the ground. And if you don't have those kind of luxuries, then start off the way I did. Essentially, the way I started off was with a safety deposit box at a bank, paying about $80 to $100. I think it's about $80 a year. You might even get some of the smaller boxes, the tiny boxes, for about like 30, 50, $70. So always talk to your bank to see if they have any safety deposit boxes. Never tell them that you're actually putting cash in it, because you're not supposed to store cash in a safety deposit box. I don't know if they would consider this cash or not, but there's also no reason for a banker to know that you're storing some or most of your wealth in their bank. So take all of that with a grain of salt. Like I said, consult a financial advisor. I'll pull one more envelope out of here just to see what we got. See, this one sounds kind of light. Let me see if I can pull that feels a little heavier. Let's see, this one feels good. So I don't know what this is, but it sounds fun. All right, this says bought on October of 2022, and I bought 6 halves for $67. So you can do the math. You can let me know what they're worth now, or what you think they're going for. If you know the price or the spot price of silver today, you can let me know what it is, and we can kind of work it out. It would essentially be 3 ounces here, or whatever that works out to, 3 troy ounces. I don't know how it works out. I never got good at the math of ounces and troy ounces, so if you want to explain that to me, you can. What I did get good at was making sure that I wasn't missing out, and that I was always consistently saving and stacking my piece, right? I'm not saying to sacrifice everything in life, but you should have a little bit of currency aside. So you should be able to stack a little bit of your hard work on the side, right? And again, any questions, contact your financial advisor. But let's check these out. 1946 Walking Liberty here. And again, you'll always see that high point there. You'll always see that it's got the wear on the high point. And that's why these would be considered coal, I believe. But to me, these are still a great find. This is essentially what I would resort to when I went into coin shops and they didn't have any of the Morgan or Peace coal dollars. Then I would drop to, I would ask if they had any foreign foreign currency, as far as like they had like Mexico dollars and stuff like that. And those were silver, but those weren't very prominent either. There's a 1944. And essentially, so I would just come back to this, which was $half. And $half have always been handy as well. There's a 1945. So we have a 44, a 45, and a 46. And then let's see here. We got a 1938 over here. Look at all these beautiful coins. Oh, nice. We got a Ben Franklin there. We got another 44 here. And then over here, this is actually pretty nice. 1950. And so if we got these, let's see. We probably picked these up for about what, $1 and $11 each, I think, which is pretty cool. I don't know, that seems like a fair deal to me. 11 bucks each, and these are 90% silver. Look at that beautiful tone on that. So in 2022, right? And so another thing to consider is the time's going to pass anyways. So your stack, if it's something that you've wanted to do, you don't get to take it with you, right? Essentially, unless your family decides to throw it all in with you. But why not have fun while you're here? Stack a few ounces if you can. That's my advice. Like I said, everybody's financial situation is different. You're free to call these guys out and check it out because they're a great company to work with. Just a bunch of honest people at this place. And so I feel like that's why I've resorted to do a lot of business with them over the years. But again, you don't have to. So I'll put that there for now. I hope you enjoyed this update on silver. I can also make an update on stocks, as I have also previously given stock advice for myself and for other people to essentially entertain themselves with, because I'm not a financial advisor. But I do give myself advice, and then I post it online for fun so people can check it out. So if you want to get an update on stocks, feel free to let me know. A lot of my stocks are up at least 20% from the video I made about a year and a half ago. So like I said, it's all fun, just depending on what your investment style is. And just do what you can to get yourself in a better situation, if at all possible. For me, that always started with silver. And now, like I said, I could work my way into gold if I wanted to, God willing, and thank God. But this stuff is still the funnest to me. And so essentially what I'll probably continue to do is I'll probably continue to stack silver as it continues to go higher. And me personally, I'll probably continue to dollar cost average, and we'll see what happens. So I wish you all the best in your investment journeys. And like I said, if you do it for fun, continue to do it for fun. If you do it for, the money, just make sure your heart is also in the right place, as you don't want to get caught in a bad situation where somebody might be trying to corner the market or do something silly, and then now you are, overpaying, right? Because that's not fun. And if you're overpaying, it could take a lot longer to make your money back. So definitely don't want to do anything like that. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, I definitely appreciate a thumbs up. It's free for you, and you got all of this for free. So definitely a thumbs up helps. If you can leave a comment, if you can leave the current spot price, if this is, a year from now, 3 months, whatever it is, 5 years from now, I'd love to see what the current spot price today is. So if you have a moment, just feel free to drop it in the comments, and we'll catch you on the next one where I'm going to drop more knowledge for you guys, all right? Hope you guys and gals are having a wonderful day. Hit that like button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.